So, ladies and gentlemen, we just got some news when it comes to tariffs that you may want to know about, especially if you're in the world of e-commerce. Now, it's getting pretty crazy. It's pretty ridiculous. It's wild, to say the least. So, the White House just announced that they'll be increasing the tariff percentage to 245% to Chinese goods. Now, we're going to talk about that in this video, right? We're going to break down this figure. We're going to see and talk about how this is actually affecting brands, because I have multiple brands. I'm a shareholder in a lot of e-com brands as well, and I also have clients across a variety of industries in e-com. So I actually have a really good perspective on how this is affecting people as a whole. But first things first, let's talk about what this means, right? So the first thing I want to point out here is this article from USA Today. Now they're talking about how this causes confusion. So this is the first thing I want to mention. A lot of people right now, I've been seeing this, are very much scared of the situation, which I totally don't blame you. But a lot of people are using that as an excuse to not start their business, not start their Shopify store. And, they're thinking that for some reason e-commerce is just dead. This is ridiculous. Of course, e-commerce is not dead. In fact, this just seems like a whole game between, Trump and, China, right? It's not really something that's concrete, first of all, because even myself, right, we have, brands that we're running right now. For example, we have one that we target the US only, and we've yet to pay a tariff, and we're shipping directly from China, even though it's a branded product and everything. We've yet to pay a single tariff. Now, I'm sure these will come into play sooner or later, but what we're doing is two things. One, I'm building a lot of relationships with US vendors, first of all, and that's the first thing that I want to show you that you can do. So, for example, even on Alibaba, right, which is such a popular site, this is so accessible to anybody, right? You can look up, for example, I looked up Lululemon. This is super random. And I looked up suppliers from the US. And guess what? I already see a product here that I would consider selling. These kinds of shorts are super, super trending. And I know they're trending because on the ShopiLab dashboard, this is my research software. It's an accelerator is really what we call it. We can look in the market trends here and we can see, for example, in fashion and clothing, we can find shorts like this, or at least trends that fit these shorts. But we can also actually find products too. Now, these are actually really cool. Like, these kinds of shorts are so trending on TikTok right now. And again, this is a US supplier. So it really just takes being slightly creative. Like, you could go to the supplier and you could say, hey, could you ship these orders individually for me? I have a good track record of selling products on Shopify, and this could be really cool. And then there's others like this as well. Like, these are really, really great products. So that's one option. The second option is to simply sell worldwide, right? I mean, every other country is having a good relationship with China right now. This is, again, mainly beef with Trump and China. So selling into other markets is a brilliant idea. We've had massive success selling in markets like Ireland, for example. Last month, we had a store that we launched and incubated where we tested worldwide, and we found a lot of success in Ireland. Super random, but it's just to say that you can target worldwide. That's the brilliant thing about meta ads. And that's the great thing about finding a supplier. And, not to shill ShopiLab here too much, but we really do have all these solutions. We have sourcing partners and production partners too. I've been talking to 3 different suppliers within the US that are willing to let our community members drop ship their products and even private label and white label their products. So, the worst thing you can do, I think, in these kinds of situations is to be stagnant and to just, think that everything's over. I feel like that's actually what most people do. And it's good that most people do that, because that's what creates the opportunity for the people that are proactive, right? People that are proactive about these sorts of things are always going to come out on top in these situations where volatility is the new normal. Volatility creates an insane amount of opportunity. That's what a lot of you guys are missing. And that's what I'm trying to get across in this video, is that although this is a very confusing and chaotic situation, it is not even close to the end of the world when it comes to e-com or Shopify. This is just one hurdle that we'll have to cross. And just as fast as these tariffs are coming in, they can go away. That's the other thing. So do you really want to not be prepared for the possibility of the tariffs going away? I don't think you should want to be prepared for that and just wait around and do nothing because you think that it's just not gonna be worth it. I think that's probably the worst thing you could do. And this is just one simple example again, but also, like I said, even if you wanted to dropship from AliExpress, I'm a huge believer in brands. and building quality products. And, I'm actually in the market right now for Shopify brands. I'm trying to buy Shopify brands and TikTok shops with amazing products. We really want to get into those markets with my team, and we just want to buy a brand that's already doing incredible stuff, making amazing products. But let's say even if you wanted to just drop ship, I mean, you could still just use AliExpress, right? They still have these prices baked into their goods. So you could still continue to drop ship normally with your Shopify store. So again, I think there's a lot of confusion through this situation, which is allowing people to, it's kind of weeding out the weak, for lack of better words. I mean, I don't like to use those terminologies because maybe you're not weak, but you just don't know how to think through this properly. But ultimately, I think this is an incredible opportunity. This is such a great product too. Like pickleball dresses are a huge trending product that I just saw the other day in here actually. It was in the fashion category. So if we go to fashion, we'll see down here that pickleball dresses are booming right now. They're just doing so well, as you see. And you can find a pickleball dress from the US. This is from a US supplier, and there's more. So again, it's not the end of the world. It's actually not even close to the end of the world. If anything, this is probably in the end a good thing. I know that sounds crazy, but it's probably going to be a good thing in the end because it's going to remove a lot of competition. I think, honestly, the people I feel the most bad for are the bigger brands that are already on leverage, right? There's a lot of big brands that are already kind of living on margin. They have loans that they've had to pay for inventory, maybe especially in Q4. A lot of brands go super hard for Q4. Some of the bigger ones, they go really hard for Q4. They get over leverage, and they didn't, surely they didn't expect this to happen. So those are the brands that are going to be mostly affected. If you're someone that's just starting their business, you literally have nothing to worry about. You're the perfect person to capitalize on this opportunity. And the fact that I'm seeing people that are in those positions that are saying, oh, well, I'm just not going to start now then. I mean, come on, you are making a terrible mistake. If your idea was to start a Shopify store or an e-commerce business and you're using this as an excuse to not do it, again, you're being misguided or you're just thinking of this not properly. I think this is going to be the worst for the brands that are already, swimming in deep water with a lot of margin. They're already super big. Those brands are going to be super affected, and I'm confident that we'll probably see a few of them if this situation doesn't improve and if the chaos continues. We'll probably see a lot of big brands going under, and they're going to be able to be scooped up for pennies on the dollar. And that's something I'm preparing for. I want to use this opportunity. We're still launching stores. We're still helping people launch stores, building up our accelerator. We're partnering with some of our accelerator members, especially international people. So, make sure you join ShopiLab if you want to partner with us. The first place I'm looking for partnership opportunities is the ShopiLab accelerator community, which you get access to when you join the software. So, we want to come out of this swinging, and I want to potentially buy up some brands if I see some really good opportunities of brands that are just struggling that will, just want to sell because they don't want to deal with this. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this. I'll keep you guys updated. Honestly, I'll probably start making daily content as these news continue to come out because it is really important. I mean, I definitely think it's important to have somebody talking about it. And I'm not super informed on, the macroeconomic landscape of the world, but I think you don't really need to do that. It's probably better to get news from someone that's actually in the trenches with you, that understands what's going on at this level. So hopefully this, gave you some relief. Again, I think you should just start your brand, whether it's drop shipping or whether it's with a US supplier. It's not going to be more difficult now than it was before. It's the same difficulty, if not better, because a lot of people are pulling back their ad spend. A lot of people are not going to continue to run their businesses because they can't afford it, but you can because you have nothing to lose, right? So those are my thoughts. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.